We'll now call the business session of August 6, 2024 to order at 6:03 p.m. All council members are present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item of business tonight is to consider the minutes of the July 2, 2024 special city council meeting. These minutes were provided in your meeting packet. Are there any corrections? There being no corrections, the minutes stand approved as submitted. The next item will be item 2024-521, proclamation for National Breastfeeding Month. And I will meet Dawn Ballasing down at the podium. Dawn is down here. Before I present this, I just want to recognize Dawn. She's been with the city for a year and a half or so, right? She's our WIC program manager. She works with health promotion, prevention, clinical nutrition, dietetics, medical nutrition therapy. She has her master's from the University of Nebraska at Omaha, which is near my hometown. So, well educated up in the Midwest. And she's also a registered dietitian. So I appreciate everything you do for the city in recognizing this proclamation. And I will now read that proclamation. I, Jim Holmes, by virtue of the authority invested in me as mayor of the city of Waco, Texas, do hereby proclaim August 2024 as National Breastfeeding Month in the city of Waco and urge all citizens to join with city council, city staff, and me in recognizing that through a supportive and welcoming environment, our community can encourage the healthy development of all infants and families of all races, ethnicities, and family structures. Breast milk is the preferred and most appropriate source of nutrition, adapting over time to meet the evolving needs of the growing infant. Breastfeeding provides a safe, reliable, and renewable food source, especially critical during natural disasters and emergency situations. It is a proven primary prevention strategy, protecting both infants and mothers from a host of chronic and acute diseases and building a foundation for lifelong health. Breastfeeding builds a strong emotional connection between the mother and infant, which lasts a lifetime. Employers that provide workplace lactation support experience an impressive return on investment, including lower healthcare costs, absenteeism, and turnover rates, and improved morale, job satisfaction, and productivity. The theme for the 2024 campaign is Nourish, Sustain, Thrive, and it will shine a light on why protecting, promoting, and supporting lactation is so important for the human life cycle. This month honors the incredible work of organizations striving to make the world a more friendly place for new parents and families, and highlights how individuals, advocates, and policymakers can collaborate and contribute to a strong, sustainable lactation field. Families are a priority in the city of Waco, and part of helping families to thrive is ensuring that they receive community support to develop and sustain healthy lifestyles. This proclamation is in testimony whereof, witnessed by my hand and the seal of the city of Waco on the 6th day of August, signed by myself and all the city council members. Congratulations. Get this out here.
The rest of the community. First, thank you for welcoming me to your city, and thank you for this proclamation. It is my hope and objective that we get more moms, especially our minority population, breastfeeding for healthier outcomes for our infants. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. The next item to consider is public hearing 2024-522. And I believe we'll have Galen House, our Director of Housing, making a presentation.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This is a public hearing to receive comments on the draft consolidated plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2029 and the 24-25 draft annual action plan prior to submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The City of Waco's Citizen Participation Plan requires that the city conduct a public hearing to receive comments on the proposed activities identified in the draft consolidated plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2029 and the 24-25 draft annual action plan prior to submission to HUD. The plan identifies the housing and non-housing community development needs and priorities over the next 5 years within the city and will serve as a blueprint of what projects will be funded through the use of community development block grant funds and the Home Investment Partnerships Program funds. The annual action plan includes a housing, homeless, and community development needs plan for addressing priority needs and the city's specific plans for the use and spending of the 24-25 Community Development Block Grant Funds and Home Investment Partnership Program funds. The plan was made available for the public's review from June 24th through July 24th of 2024. In addition to the public comment period, a public hearing was held at the June 18th City Council meeting. Hard copies were made available for the public's viewing in the City Secretary's office, the Housing Office, and the public libraries. The notice for this public hearing was published in the non-legal section of the Waco Tribune Herald newspaper, posted on the city's website, posted at the city's libraries, and on the city's bulletin boards.
Are there any questions for staff? No questions. Is there anyone present who'd like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close the public hearing. I'm sorry, Mr. Herring. We'll now open a public hearing for comments. And please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address council. Mr. Herring.
My name is Mary. I live at 1044 Chestnut Street. I'm here today to talk about, 2,562 days. Wow. Your program, the advantage program, except one thing, you still got a problem. I came to y'all on August 1st telling there's a major problem with the house that I made built in accordance with the program that he's talking about right now. Also, tax abatement is part of that program that he's talking about now. There's a conflict of interest because if y'all are supposed to do the inspection, y'all are supposed to hold the contractor accountable, but you're giving this contractor money. And the citizen has nobody to go talk to about this. I brought this up on June 3rd, 2023, and they got a record. The response I got was totally unprofessional, but I'll leave it at that. My question is simple. Who does a citizen go to talk to when they got a problem with the contractor that y'all giving money to? Can't go to the city. I tried that, didn't work. Went to the inspection department, tried that, didn't work. Even hired a lawyer to talk to your legal department, still didn't work. Problem still there. I got a document that would have put me in jail if I had used it to another bank. These people y'all giving money to. I could be sitting in jail right now for a document that the contractors y'all giving money to right now gave to me, gave to my bank, take money out of my account. Y'all be safe. God bless you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Mr. Herring. Are there any other speakers who would like to speak on this item? Seeing no additional speakers, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Ewing,
Yes.
Wateroo, Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
Motion passes. The next item to consider is public hearing 2024-523. I believe we have Clint Peters. at the
Mayor,
podium.
members of the council, this is a continuation of a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, creating a plan unit development, changing the zoning classification from R1B to PUD on certain property described as Lot 2, Block 1, the James R. Kersey Edition, Lots 1 and 2, Block 1, known as 3212 South 4th Street. Approving the concept plan for the PUD, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for penalties, providing a saving clause, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 8-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the PUD based on the following findings and subject to the following conditions. The findings are the proposed PUD is consistent with the land use component of the comprehensive plan, the purposes of Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, and the Plan Unit Development Regulations. And 2, the proposed PUD is in keeping with the purpose and intent of the PUD ordinance by providing a high level of urban amenities and design standards while allowing flexibility in the use and development of the property. We do have 2 conditions. The final PUD must meet all development standards consistent with the concept PUD plan and the site requirements of the Plan Review Committee, including but not limited to the following: site grading and drainage, floodplain, engineering design for water and sewer, signage regulations, parking, site coverage, access and circulation, landscaping, refuse location and access, and fire protection location and access. And that the property shall be platted in accordance with the subdivision ordinance prior to issuance of building permits.
Thank you, Clint. Are there any questions for staff? I will now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who would like to speak regarding this item? And we have one. Mr. Mercer, please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address council.
Mayor and council, my name is David Mercer. My address is 1927 Columbus Avenue, and I just wanted to make myself available for any questions that you guys may have on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mercer. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? There being none, I'll close the public hearing, and is there a motion?
Move for approval on first reading.
Second.
We have a motion second. Is there any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield. Yes. Rodriguez. Aye. Ewing.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye. That motion passes. We will now consider the resolutions. We have 2 resolutions that have been pulled from the consent agenda. That is Resolution 2024-531 and Resolution 2024-522. We'll go with Resolution, yeah.
522 is actually a public hearing, so you can go to Resolution 531.
What was that?
531. 522 is a public hearing.
Spoke at the public hearing. It's
Oh.
it's supposed to
Oh,
be
we
a
already
public
had it.
hearing. Yes, sir.
Right.
So Resolution 531 will be
531
next.
is the next one I have to speak on.
Makes perfect sense now. So the only one that was pulled was 531 from the resolutions. Thank you. We'll now start on those. Speakers come up. We do have cards on this. I will introduce to the podium Bethel Erickson. If you can come first. We have 4 cards on this, and I'll announce the person on deck. Also, Africa Tarver. You're up next. So thank you, Ms. Erickson.
Hello, I'm Bethel Erickson. I live at 1101 Preston Street in East Waco, and I'm the Executive Director of the Waco Downtown Farmers Market. Here really just to answer any clarifying questions about a potential move that would be starting next March in 2025 of our Saturday Farmers Market to the Bridge Street Plaza in East Waco. Do you have any questions?
Just to clarify, the current location of the downtown Waco Farmers Market is in the kind of the square or the parking lot in front of the McLennan County Courthouse. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that current location, does the city of Waco have any role in that location or contractual role in that?
No, it's county owned, and right now our lease is year by year, and it's fine, but it was meant as a temporary measure 7 years ago. So we've been operating in a temporary location. Now we would like to seek a location that has more amenities for an event space and allows us greater participation from different community organizations.
So on behalf of your nonprofit, you're requesting approval by the council to utilize the Bridge Street Plaza as a location for your, a location for your farmer's market. Is that correct?
Yes, and we would
Okay.
be continuing the Wednesday evening at that same location as well.
Okay. Which already occurs already there?
Yes,
Okay.
seasonally in spring and fall.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Any other questions for Ms. Erickson? Thank you, Ms. Erickson. Next up is Africa Tarver. Is Africa, I thought I saw her earlier.
I didn't see it.
Africa Tarver? Africa Tarver not here. Next up is Iolandra Sharp. Would you like to speak? You're yielding your right to speak. As a matter of record, okay. Next up is Rebecca Kersey. Rebecca, Ms. Kersey.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Kersey. I live at 3901 Watt Avenue, Waco, Texas. I am opposing moving the farmers market there for a couple of reasons. First off, the location we're currently in pulls a lot more people, and it's very close to Magnolia, so we have a lot of tourist people who come through and see a lot of the trades that people are doing here locally. My other really major problem with the move is that there will not be enough parking and that people will have to walk very far distances. I have a lot of not as mobile clientele that come to my booth at the farmers market that I'm concerned what their plan is long-term for that, because I work the Wednesday market and we barely had enough parking for a much slower market, and Saturdays are probably at least 3 times bigger. They're much bigger foot traffic and everything. So I'm really concerned about my constituents not being able to get to the market every week. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Kersey. City Attorney, help me out. We give the right for rebuttal for the proponent.
That's more on the planning public hearing, so no, not in this situation, yes.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion on Resolution 2024-531?
Oh, you have another speaker.
We already yielded your time at the podium. All right, come on. I mean, I'll give you a second chance. Please state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Iolandra Sharp. So obviously I'm for the market. One, because it will bring in mass otro cultures like Latinos, the African Americans, the blacks, and it's more conducive in the location for other persons to be able to walk to it if they don't have transportation, and also if they're trying to make a living, it's better in that location. So it's bueno.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Are there any other?
We can't take comments from the audience.
All right. So can we take one without a card? Yeah.
If the chair so chooses, you could have somebody come up and speak who hasn't signed a card.
One more. Anybody that would like to speak? State your name and you have 3 minutes.
President of the Northeast Riverside Neighborhood Association. As I communicated with our mayor, I do agree that we need more activities and events on Bridge Street. At first I was against certain things, but now I see the value of utilizing that property because $6 million was given, TIF funding was given for the renovation of that historic and cultural location. And we take pride in that landmark. And we want it to be utilized. We want to build strong community ties. For a long time, people would come to the end of the bridge, they would stop and then turn around and go back. But now people are starting to come over and, connect with each other, bond with each other, learn about each other's cultures, and what types of businesses and commerce we have. And so I just want to say that I approve it. I'm for it.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Anyone else who would like to speak on this item? We have, please come forward, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Elijah Muhammad. I live at 1108 North 44th Street. I am currently a vendor at the farmer's market, and I like things getting better, and I think that the move would be a significant bettering of the farmer's market, bring in a younger crowd. And, a parking lot is where cars park, so that's where we currently are. And a park is where people come to convene. And I think that where a community come to commune, and so that's a representation of what the farmer's market is. It's a place where people can come and commune. So why not? It's a smart decision. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad. Anyone else who'd like to speak on this item? It's gotten to be a popular one here all of a sudden. Okay. I think that's it. I will now entertain a motion on Resolution 2024-531.
I move for approval.
Second. Oh, go ahead. Councilmember Chase got the second.
And a second. Is there any discussion?
What I know is, and Ms. Bell is absolutely correct, when the beginning dream for Bridge Street Plaza was to create space for community, active space for the community. And I mean, this has been a project for a very long time that's been in discussion. All types of events and programs. I think that the beginning of the Wednesday market introduced a new opportunity into the Nerna neighborhood and allowed more commercial activity on Bridge Street and the Elm Avenue corridor, which is absolutely in line with, I think, the last 5 major studies that we've done in downtown. One of the #1 requests of our residents is access to healthy foods. Farmers market do just that. But in addition to healthy food sources, there are local vendors and artisans from all over the state who come to participate in this market. And I think it creates an opportunity to lead by example for our budding entrepreneurs of our community to know that they have an entree to their business in a place like the farmer's market. I heard the comment mentioned about distance for our tourism visitors. And I duly noted, it is technically 3 blocks further than where it is currently. However, what I do know about when we travel is when things are interesting, we go to them wherever they are. And I don't think that those 3 blocks would hinder any of our tourists from crossing the river, which is what we as Wacoans would encourage anyway, because we want all of our visitors to see all of our community. And if they can walk away with, healthy foods or a unique gifts from our many artisan vendors, it's a plus. I think that we have built a safer environment from, and I mean, no shade to the county's parking lot. But it is a parking lot and not necessarily the safest surface for people to walk upon. We've got very good and fresh new ADA compliant streets and sidewalks and all that, and lighting. and a stage so the young man who plays the guitar doesn't have to be up under the tree. I think we've got a great opportunity to do some really good things. And so I wholeheartedly approve the farmers market moving to Bridge Street. Now, change is uncomfortable. We all know that. We do. And we understand that as we build place and place-making opportunities, what it has meant to be in this temporary location for 7 years, because now people are accustomed to it. But I do believe that in the year that we have, well, not a full year, I don't guess, 6 months, 8 months, to transition our customers and clients, I think they get used to it. And I think it's an opportunity to welcome more people, including our Wake residents, who may not have experienced the farmers market in this way, an opportunity to do so. I think it'll give our tourist temporary residents to explore more of our community and really get to know who Waco is. So I think it's a great idea. And that aligns with the local organizations who are doing more to bring healthy options into our communities. I see Women in Agriculture here. I mean, we've worked to make sure that they were engaged in the Wednesday market and will continue in the Saturday market as they have already. And that just would bring an opportunity for more and more people to re-engage with the holistic, organic approach to health and wellness. And so I look forward to the opportunities of seeing them grow, our entrepreneurs grow, our other artisans and fresh food providers to come into a larger space with an opportunity to have probably a more dynamic layout at the footsteps of an apartment complex and 3 hotels. So I think we've got a great opportunity for more people to see what the Waco Farmers Market has to offer.
Yeah, I think from the city's perspective, we are not involuntarily moving this or arbitrarily moving this. We're making a facility that we built available to the farmers market at their request. And I think along those lines, I think the Bridge Street Plaza is a wonderful location for these types of events. I'm glad we built it. I think it's restored Bridge Street. And I think Councilmember Barefield's done a great job of creating a great public space there on the banks of the Brazos on the east side of the river. And so if the farmers market comes to us and they want to meet there, of course, that's what it was designed for events like that. So I'm willing to approve it on that basis.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments. I think that as we've begun to talk about what our downtown is and what it will be, we have been very intentional with expanding that footprint past the border of the Brazos River to include Elm Street, to include Bridge Street, to include Taylor, to make sure that our downtown has a circumference that is more than bordered by the interstate and the natural barrier of the river. And so I think that providing East Waco with an opportunity to host the Downtown Farmers Market, as Councilmember Borderoud said, we're merely approving the ability to use it for a nonprofit that wants to do so, to utilize the space for what it was designed for. And so I think that activating that each week on a Saturday, the way that you've seen it at the courthouse, that has been said plenty of times this evening, was supposed to be temporary and has since become the longer tenured of the homes that the farmers market's had in Waco. At the end of the day, yes, the courthouse parking lot is seemingly central to the part of downtown that it's in. It is, you get people that drive by it, sure, but I believe that moving the market to a place that was meant to host markets and host events only serves to benefit the city of Waco and only serves to benefit the visitors to the market. I muttered it to myself when you were talking earlier and you mentioned no shade to the courthouse parking lot, but I wanted to reiterate, there's literally no shade in the courthouse parking lot either. So I think that there are a lot of reasons this is a good thing. And at the end of the day, if the farmer's market moves there and decides that it is not best for the market itself, for the vendors, they have opportunities and options to leave Bridge Street. We are not locking the farmer's market in a binding contract for any amount of time. So I just wanted to echo my support on the sentiments from my fellow council members.
I was just going to say, basically what you said, Darius. When we first moved Farmers Market to the courthouse parking lot, it was, then we told them this is temporary.
2 years.
So, but now it's been 7 years, it's a little long temporary, but we did say you would be moved from there. We didn't say where, but we did say it was temporary. So that's why I'm going to vote for, in approval of Resolution 531, because from the very beginning, we told the vendors and the farmers market that this was a temporary place for you.
Yep.
So I'm holding up to my part of the deal.
Is there any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please poll the council.
Yes.
Ewing,
Yes.
Porteroo,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmes,
Aye. That motion passes. The next item to consider is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of Resolution 2024-524 through 2024-570, except for 2024-531. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. Please poll the council.
Yes.
Rodriguez, Ewing,
Yes.
Porteroo,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item on the agenda is ordinance 2024-571. City Attorney Ritchie.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending the developer participation agreement with Mercer McMillan LLC, under which the City of Waco is participating in the total cost for oversizing of improvements for the M&M Industrial Park Addition, to decrease the cost of oversizing of improvements and to decrease the city's share of the project by an amount not to exceed $700,081.45 for a new total authorization amount not to exceed $1,799,918.55. Authorizing the city manager to execute any documents in connection therewith, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Yes.
Aye.
Ewing,
Yes.
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye. That ordinance passes. The next item to consider is ordinance 2024-572. City Attorney Ritchie.
An ordinance establishing administrative departments of the City of Waco, Texas, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a savings clause, providing for an effective date, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Yes.
Aye.
Ewing,
Yes.
Porteroo, Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
The ordinance passes on first reading. The next item to consider is ordinance 2024-573. City Attorney Ritchie.
An ordinance amending Section 25-244 hearing of Article 10 Junk Motor Vehicles of Chapter 25 Traffic and Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, to reference the appropriate chapter of the Texas Transportation Code, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for an effective date, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on June 18th, 2024.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez, Ewing,
Yes.
Porteroo, Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye. That ordinance passes on second reading. The next item to consider is the hearing of visitors. During the hearing of visitors section of the agenda, we provide an opportunity for the public to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. The council is unable to conduct a discussion, but will listen. We'll ask staff to look into concerns, and we will provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. You have handouts. Please let us know at the beginning of your presentation. The staff will distribute those to the council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. And we do have several registered speakers tonight. When called to the, and I will be calling you up to the podium here in a second. When called to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker must limit comments to 3 minutes. If you're speaking on behalf of a group of 10 or more individuals present, please have those persons stand at the beginning of your comments, and you will be given 10 minutes to address the council. Please note that if you stand in support of a person getting 10 minutes to speak, you forfeit your right to speak on that item. For any person addressing the council through use of a translator, the speaking time will be doubled to accommodate the translation services. While public discourse is very important to the council, we have to maintain order in the meetings so that all persons may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, the Sergeant at Arms shall remove from the council meeting any person who, while addressing the city council or while attending the city council meeting, 1, makes personal or impertinent or slanderous remarks. 2, if you become boisterous. Or 3, if you make unauthorized remarks from the audience, or you clap your hands, or you stomp your feet, or whistle, or yell, or make similar demonstrations. So we have several speakers here. I will call the first one up. It is Alan Northcutt. There you go, Dr. Northcutt.
Alan Northcutt, and you do have a handout. Back in June, when the resolution for funding the Riverway Master Plan community was considered, we called on the City Council to add features to this to combat the climate crisis. Although there are communities in the U.S. that are already at net zero emissions, we're just calling for modest steps as a starting point in Waco buildings. And this is in your handout. Those were 1, all-electric construction, 2, EV-ready garages throughout, 3, solar-ready construction for the more expensive homes, 4, EV chargers, level 2 or 3 for businesses and community buildings, and 5, photovoltaic systems with battery storage on all community buildings. So what are the pros and cons of reopening the agreement? For pros, in a world with continually worsening impacts of climate change, as we observe every day, the Council would live up to its pledge of taking the climate crisis serious and lowering greenhouse gas emissions as much as possible from this subdivision. A pro, greater resilience of grid with photovoltaics and storage. Pro, savings for homeowners to begin electric rather than retrofit. And all electric is definitely coming. Pro, better health for residents with no gas appliances. We know now medically that gas stoves worsen asthma in children, for example. Also eliminate fire and explosion risk. Pro, improve Waco's image from a more backward city to one with a climate-forward design. Good for recruiting people with high-tech skills. Pro, since these changes are policy statements, there would be almost no cost to the city. Pro, supporting this has been supported by many emails and print letters to the council and city manager. Also, there's an online petition, again in your handout, with about 100 citizens that have signed, friends and neighbors that you will know. I didn't have a chance to remove some of the out-of-state signatories. And, as I mentioned before, the Yale Climate Opinion Poll found that 63% of Waco citizens recognize climate change, and a majority want more action from leaders here. And finally, on the pros, build a community for the future, not for the past. Now, as far as cons, what's against this? Well, the reopening of this agreement would be inconvenient. But we're talking about maybe discussions over weeks and months for homes that may be around for 40 years or more. The other one that I've heard mentioned, developers will not like this. Well, Car makers didn't like the idea
Wrap it up, Mr.
of
North.
doing seat belts, but we have to do what's best for citizens
Thank you, Dr.
over
Northcutt.
business interests. Please do the right thing on this. Thank you.
Dr. Northcutt. Appreciate you. Next up is Ken Willets. Ken. Mr. Willets, please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to address council once you get to the podium.
Thank you. My name is Ken Willets. My address is 4324 Shady Glen Drive, Waco, Texas, and I'm still in the best district, number 5. Yesterday, this comment is about the My Waco app. Yesterday, I saw an illegal dumping, and I reported it on My Waco app. It looked like somebody got a pickup truck, went down an alley, unloaded the entire pickup truck. I reported it yesterday. I went by there today, it's gone. I wish the whole city can work that way. Whoever's doing it, they deserve a raise. All right. Now, the issue of stray dogs, loose dogs, off-leash dogs. I've been asking for help from the city for a few months now. I've talked to Chief of Staff, Communication Director, Waco Housing Department, Neighborhood Engagement. As of today, no help from the city. We formed the Waco Animal Group. As of today, we've got over 40 members, over 400 Facebook followers. We have accomplished the following: a Facebook page, an Instagram account. We've joined the Central Texas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and this past Sunday, we went to an event. They have a backpack event, and we talked to hundreds of Waco citizens about spay and neutering, microchipping, foster program, both in English and in Spanish. It was a great event. We found fosters for 2 weeks for a dog that was then adopted. We found another foster for a dog that their owner was in the VA hospital. We found another foster that needed a 10-by-10 dog run until the owner was found. We had that 10-by-10 dog run donated. Upcoming event, we have a microchip event. The first 100 people we're going to fund giving 100 microchips. We installed a temporary fence to keep 2 dogs in their yard from a fence that was knocked down by Encore's tree trimming company. We installed another 10-by-10 dog run that was also donated to keep 2 dogs in their yards. We repaired a chain link fence to keep 2 puppies in their yards. We've had 3 TV news media interviews about the Waco Animal Group. We've been busy in a few months. We are small, but we still need the city's help. The city animal control officers' trucks have a sign that says free spay and neutering. But when the citizen calls ABC Clinic, the best place in town, and are told, we don't have any more city funds. Really? The trucks do not say free spay or neutering while supplies last. The city law does not say you're required until supplies last. Please fund ABC Clinic for every citizen that's trying to do the right thing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Willis. Appreciate you. Next up, we have Ian Camacho. Mr. Camacho, please state your name and address. You have 3 minutes to address council.
Okay, good afternoon, council members and mayor. My name is Ian Camacho. I'm at 4220 Grimm Avenue. I'm also with Waco Animal Group with Ken Willets, although I disagree with him. District 4 is absolutely superior. And so first I want to congratulate Animal Welfare Board Chairman Cheryl Foster on her perfect attendance at the Animal Welfare Board meetings. I know no one here can clap, stomp, or whistle. You all heard the mayor, so hold your excitement. But I did want to say she is granted to show up at all the meetings as the chair of the board, as are all the various board and commission chairmen. But still, the fact that someone did something well is noteworthy. However, I'm not sure if she has sent you notice about 2 men on the Animal Welfare Board, as she is required to do under the policies governing City of Waco boards and commissions under Section 24D attendance, which states the chair shall send any member with 2 consecutive absences a written notice of attendance status, and that's in front of you. My point is, I'm not aware if you're aware or if there's a paper trail, and that's why I'm notifying you. I'm specifically referring to AWB board member Wes Cole, who missed August and September of last year, plus January, March, April, and July. Which July I don't even have. I have June. I only got through there, but he did miss that. Twice he should have been notified, and you should have as well. I'm also referring to Cody Nethery, who missed November, January, March, and July, but also should have been notified after missing July and August of last year, and you too. And again, you have everything through June. Both men missed at least half the meetings in 1 year, which is grounds for removal. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, again, under policy governing City of Waco boards and commission under 24A attendance, a member of a board which meets monthly or quarterly, who is absent from more than 25% of the regular meetings during any 12-month period, whether excused or not, may be removed from his or her office or membership by the city council. And by the way, no one else on the board has that. I'm not singling them out for any other reason but that reason. And that 50% absence rate does not even include the no quorum cancels, which is another issue that I'm going to address in a moment. But those are only the ones that AWB recorded. And just to be clear, I'm not gunning for their jobs. I'm already spread thin. I'm working with WAG. I'm working as a precinct chair and also with the neighborhood association in Brookview. My goal really isn't to get people fired. My goal really is to save animals and ask for accountability. If someone applies for a board, they should either fully commit or resign. When they don't show, they block progress, they waste our time. People who do show up in the community, they endanger animal lives. Boards and commissions shouldn't just be a stepping stone where you get on, you don't show, and then you run for something else. Because you all worked hard to get here, so I don't think that we should have that same accountability for everybody. In addition to bringing up the attendance of Wes Cole and Cody Nethery, please consider requiring all boards to roll call for meeting attendance, even if a quorum is not met. As you see, there are 6 that were canceled, and it just says not clear, so that could be clarified. I understand that falls under the Boards and Commissions Board technically, and I will bring it up to them, but that way, if they do get canceled due to a failure to meet quorum, the record shows who attends and who doesn't, and that way it doesn't penalize people who came and reward no-shows. I think my time's up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Next up is Almeida Seals. Almeida Seals. Is Miss Seals here? I do not see an Almeida Seals. Okay. Next up is Randy Elliman. Please approach. I think you're speaking on behalf of 10 people, right, Randy? Officer? Yeah, but you got to stand up. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. And Mr. Elliman, please state your name and address, and you have 10 minutes to address the council.
Randy Allman, live in North Waco on Scotland Drive in District 5. I'm a retiree from the city of Waco, much like my coworkers. We still have great concerns about the cost of living adjustment, I guess, program, if you will, of the city of Waco, or COLAs, and so that's why we're back tonight, just to share information again. I think this is my 7th time before the council in about 2 years. Bill Ballman's been before you as well. And I guess we're still have concerns about the program, if you will. So go on to page 1 on the memo. I'm going to try to go as fast as I can, which I assume everybody's got a copy, right? What we're asking for is the same thing we asked for in 2023, a 70% retroactive ad hoc COLA. From my research at TMRS, and anybody who's researched it, it gives the most money for the retirees for the least amount of cost. And we focused on our paperwork in the past between option 2, which is city preferred, and option 9, which we prefer. We looked at the paperwork on the cost claimed by the city. If you look at the annual repayment, option 9 is 5.5 million, and our math expert came up with option 2 at 5.2 million. So it's a lot more in reality, according to our math expert, than what Waco's paperwork said. One thing I found out from TMRS since our June 4th presentation, of course, we have money going into the TMRS account contributions, and you have the account, and they have money going out the backside, payments, disbursements, etc. So all cost of living payments and cost of living adjustments, I should say, come out the TMRS account. So in the truest or technical sense, they come from TMRS, they don't come directly from the Waco budget. I realize that's a technicality, but that's the way it works. If you look at the bottom of page 1, Waco earned, I believe, $59 million in interest in 2003. So when you look at, let me back up a second, the difference per year, according to our math, is about $292,495 a year. So when you look at that additional cost, which is a mere subtraction in the TMRS account anyhow, that's 203 times, I guess, less than the interest Waco earned in 2023, and the interest Waco may earn at the end of 2024, which is a projection, is about 39 million, which is 127 times larger than the 292,495. So let's go to page 1A, which should be the second page in your packet. This is the one that's really shows that we're hurting really bad. When you look at the total inflation for the time period indicated, it's 30% and change. Social Security 28, employee risk 35, retirees 1.94%, the first one we've gotten in 10 years. So looking back, for those that don't know the history, Waco's pretty much withheld pay, retirement pay from 2012 through 2024, 13 years. And then when you look at the 1.94% over this time period, that means retirees over that time span have gotten less than 0.2% per year on additional pay. One other thing I'd like to point out, in our June 4th handout, I believe we said something like there were several hundred or many hundreds of retirees that had lost 30% purchasing power as of 2007. I went back and looked at that again. It's actually a bit worse than that. So using the math that we got from TMRS last August from the budget meeting, as of January of 12, 30% or more loss of purchasing power is now 784 retirees, or I think it's in the memo, 62.5%. So that should be correct. Could it be off a little bit? Yes, but the trend, I think, is apparent, which is a shame that we have to say that and talk about that, honestly. Let's go to attachment B1, please. B1. Most of you have seen this before, comparing option 2 and option 9. You look at compare the cost difference between 2 and 9, and this is using the 2023 numbers from the Budget and Audit Committee meeting. It's $5.6 million. So last August, I said it was about $250,000 to $285 difference. It's actually closer to the $292. And when you look at the 101,903 and divide it by 20 years, that's already almost $5.1 million itself. So let's go to attachment B2. Just touching on that again, you can see the total cost at the top of the two columns for 2 and 9. The city's initial repayment from 2023 was $3.3 million compared to the 5.5. The correct, we believe, is the 5.2. But if you take the 3.3 million claimed by the city last August and you pay it back over 20 years, you only get $67 million. So that's about $37 million short if that payment is in fact true, according to the chart. Now, I think on the June 18th TMRS COLA report, the city upped that payment this year to $3.475 million or something. In any event, the math to us doesn't work out whatsoever. So let's go to attachment, page 6. Page 6 on the handout. So this touches on what's been going on with the TMRS BAF, Benefit Accumulation Account, showing the historical balances and some recent interest earned in 2019, 21, and 2023. TMRS down at the bottom of the page normally likes to see or anticipates 6.75%. In the last 5 years, they've actually earned 7.79%, but in 2023, TMRS accounts actually earned 11.92%. Let's go to attachment C. So anybody can do this research. I did some basic research, and I'm limited on what I can do in my research. Using the 2023 TMRS data for Waco's contributions and disbursements, I just plug that into a computer system as indicated on your memo. So if you look at attachment A and program the anticipated balance at the end of 2024 for the 20-year pay back period of the COLA, the one we request, 70% ad hoc retroactive, and you can see the interest earned per year at a 6.75% rate earnings rate and a 7.79% earnings rate. You can see a small difference in interest earned makes a dramatic difference in the actual dollars. And then when you look at page 7, kind of the results, when you look at the scenario A and B, depending on the interest, it's $55 million average interest a year over 20 years. assuming those numbers stay constant, but they're not. They're going to be different each year. We all know that. And then if scenario B, it averages $75 million a year. Again, we realize this research is limited. We understand that. But I did it just to show the trend, basically, to come up with similar numbers to what the Waco's account earned in recent years. It tends to match that. One other thing we noticed that, and it's understandable, I guess, but from 2017 through 2023, Waco's actually operating on a negative annual cash flow. But that's okay, and that ranges from $6.7 million a year to $9.97 million a year. So that's okay, but when you're earning $60 million a year in interest, that's okay. And so the other thing we wanted to point out is that the retroactive gets us caught up for the 9 years that we had nothing, okay? And so the retroactive simply repositions the dollars that you already got budgeted and focuses those dollars on the retirees that are hurting the most. And I brought the lower income retirees up. This is my third year in a row to bring that up. So the $292,495 estimated additional payment, we think we're losing $3 million a year in in earnings from the retirees who have never been caught up. So that's more than a 10-to-1 ratio. Like spend $292,495 and you save us, or give us, depending on how you word it, $3 million more of income. And all this should be able to be verified by TMRS. And the thing is, we'll repeat that the payments come out of TMRS directly, not the city budget. Okay? I don't know if you guys have ever known that or been told that. Maybe so. I don't know. Since we don't really talk with anyone, we're just on our own. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Elman.
All right.
Thanks for your data and your presentation. Is there anyone else present who would like to speak during the hearing of visitors here tonight? Seeing no one or no additional speakers, we will now close the hearing of visitors, and we will go to the next item, which is council comments on items of community interest. Are there any announcements the council would like to make?
I'd like to say something, Mayor. I'd like to thank you as mayor of the city of Waco, and I'd like to thank Councilmember Andrea Bearfield and myself. We attended the Benemérita Sociedad Mutualista Mexicana de Jornaleros 100th anniversary of being an active organization, 100 years here in the city of Waco. They had a beautiful event, and I thank my mayor and my council member for joining me at this event. My great-grandfathers were founding members, so obviously I had a great interest of being there. But it was a beautiful event, and I also want to thank our assistant city manager, Lisa, for joining us up there. We all sat at the head table, and we were honored by the Mutualista members for having us up there. But Vidal de Leon shared the history of the Mutualistas, and it was a real interesting issue that he brought up and talked about and told us all about. There were things that I had completely forgotten about, and he brought it forward. But I want to thank my council members and my mayor for being there. And the city was asked for a proclamation by the Benemérita Sociedad Mutualista Mexicana de Jornaleros for a proclamation to be read, and they asked for me to read it, I guess, because I'm the Hispanic representative here. So I did read it, but I had the mayor join me at the podium.
Thank you.
And then the city secretary arranged 2 beautiful baskets for the people that came in from Argentina and Mexico, that came as delegates, as a delegation to the city of Waco, and to join in this festival, because the Mutualistas are an international group. They're not just from here in Waco or Texas, but they're an international group, and they have chapters all over the world. And so I want to thank you guys for being there with me. It was a beautiful event, and it meant a lot to me to see my colleagues there. So thank you, and thank you, Lisa, for being there as well.
That was a fun night. That was a fun night. And all the history of Mutualista is so impressive and important and interesting.
It was, and it brought, like I said, Vidal brought forward a lot of memories that I had forgotten about, and it was really nice, and I appreciate you guys. I love you guys for being there.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm remembering correctly, Judge Garcia, our municipal court judge is in an amnesty period right now, is that right?
I think he said
Isn't that
they were-
right? So, we wanted just to make a public announcement that, should you have any tickets or anything like that that have not been paid, there is an opportunity right now to go in the amnesty period to the municipal court judge and work out arrangements with Judge Garcia. He's been tremendous in rectifying a lot of old debt, because those are things that can keep you from your driver's license or keep you from applying for and not having a license can keep you from applying for a job. So don't let that be a hindrance when there's an opportunity for you to have a little assistance. So that, and school's about to start. If they haven't started already, slow down. I'm talking to me, not y'all. Slow down.
Yeah, I will just add, on the school note, really excited, along with a lot of Waco ISD families, to be dropping off a couple kids at Tennyson Middle School, the new facility there. And we're excited about new classrooms, a lot of new learning collaborative spaces, big cafeteria, a couple gyms, weight rooms, all of that, after kind of working out of some portables in a public park for a few years. So excited about the new Tennyson and back to school, which I think for Waco ISD will happen in between our council meetings, but I know some of our Wacoans in China Spring are already back to school, and it's starting back. So so that's exciting. And I also wanted to encourage the community, if they haven't seen any of our PSAs, to join us at Penguin Shores on Thursday for the big ribbon cutting. It's been a long time coming, and it looks really beautiful.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
Any other comments on items of community interest? I'll now move to the last item on the agenda, council reports and requests for scheduling future agenda items. Are there any council comments or any council requests for scheduling future agenda items? There are none. So there being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 7:05 p.m.